2, 1. What's happening, everybody, on this bittersweet Monday? It is your Avengers of current culture and life gains. And it's only fair that I do this. My brother Larry, Chadwick and Wakanda forever, brother.
Wakanda forever, brother.
And for all my other people watching, Chadwick and Wakanda forever. So, we've got to talk about him and what he meant to so many people. We will talk about PValley. We will talk about Lovecraft Country. We're supposed to have Sharonda jump in here on this, but y'all know she's always on CPT time every time we do these. And so before we even get into the reviews, Larry, it's only fitting that we revisit Chadwick Boseman. And a wise person once said, your legacy as a person stems to how many people you're able to inspire and touch to do better in their lives. I would have to say that Chadwick Boseman has done that for millions and quite possibly billions of people. And before we just share our thoughts on the man, let's take a look at a little tribute I did in one of my videos today to just say, Chadwick, we miss you. You have a great impact in life. And why is it that the good always seem to die so young?
Find purpose than a job or career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history.
Just get him out. When I hit that stage, then people better be ready. Especially the white folks. Welcome to America.
I cannot tell you how much it means to have you step into the role as our king.
For me, as the mother of a young son, my son's childhood has been defined by Barack Obama and now Black Panther, so thank you.
This movie creates a story that we all share.
Imagine receiving a letter that your tuition was paid for and that your benefactor was none other than the dopest actor on the planet. Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
That they never could.
Whew. Boy, that almost hurt my feelings putting that together, ladies and gentlemen. Editing that almost had me tearing up. And you see I've got the shirt. When this shirt first came out, I ran out and got it. You see I got the Black Panther hat. I had to have it. And this hit me home because my man is from South Carolina. Y'all know I'm in North Carolina. And me and Larry did a video a couple of months ago when we was trying to debate whether he was losing weight for a role or if there was something going on. And me and Larry both was in agreement that we thought something was going on. Because when they announce roles that you're going to do when you've got to lose that much weight, and we didn't see anything about it, y'all, some of y'all, not my subscribers, but some of y'all try to take us to task because y'all said we was wild, speculating, and we was just like, nah, we've been living life 40 and 50 years. We've seen things. We OGs in this game. And it's finally come out. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm devastated. I have a mother and a grandmother who both are cancer survivors. And my poor grandma's got remission right now as we speak. I know just how devastating cancer can be. But it's even more devastating when it happens to you at such a young age. When it's like he's starting to peak in his career. And I was sitting there telling my wife, I was daydreaming about being able to take our daughter to see Black Panther 4 or 5 or whatever, so she could see Black excellence at its best. And Chadwick left a mark on the Marvel Universe because, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, when they first did this movie, they did not want them to have an African accent, which makes no sense to me. They wanted them to either have an American accent or a British accent. Chadwick convinced British accent. Chadwick was able to convince Kevin Feige and the team, hell, we're Africans. We need to have an African dialect. And he was able to do that. And not only did he leave his mark on the Marvel Universe, but on a world that loved the man outside the big screen because he was a huge activist. Having said those things, Larry, I pass the baton to you. Rest in peace, big brother Chad. You were a king. You will always be a king. And I know you're up there looking down on the rest of us, hoping that we can inspire the next generation to be the kings and queens of not just Wakanda, but of the world.
Yeah, what's interesting, and something that I always say, it's always a mark of a really talented actor, and that is when you watch them play a role, and they're big stars, you know who they are, but there's such talents that within a few moments of watching that movie, you forget you're watching a Chadwick Boseman, and instead you feel like you're watching Jackie Robinson, or you feel like you're watching, Thurgood Marshall or James Brown. It feels more like they're so good in that role. It feels like you're watching a documentary rather than, a fictional film. And it's just, he was that good. And to be honest with you, I watched him I've watched all those movies. I watched, Jackie Robinson. I watched, 42. I watched, Get On Up. I watched the, Thurgood Marshall's story. There was another one that I watched with him as well. There was like 4 movies or so that I watched before I ever saw him as the Black Panther. And he was so good in those movies that when he came out was in Black Panther, I didn't even connect the two. I didn't even connect them with those other roles. It was just like, oh, of course, yes, he's Black Panther. He's King T'Challa. It was just like he was so much that it was like all the other stuff that you see. And as an example, like Terrence Howard, whenever I see Terrence Howard, regardless of what role he's in, I always see him as the dude from Hustle and Flow. It's like he plays that same character over and over and over again.
You typecast him. Like some people get typecasted.
Even when he's in a role that's totally different, even when he was an Iron Man, he still had that same sort of persona. Mm-hmm. It was, yeah. That's all. That's all I can say. It was the same, but with Chadwick Boseman, it was just different. Every time he played that role, he embodied that character to such a degree that you forgot that you were looking at an actor, and you just are lost in that moment. You feel like you're looking at the character he's playing. You feel like you're looking at Thurgood Marshall. You feel like you're looking at James Brown. Yeah. So
yeah,
and I love the fact that he played all of these roles, because when you look at the roles that he played, obviously playing Black Panther and King T'Challa, he was a superhero in a superhero movie, but he also played roles of real life superheroes. People like Jackie Robinson were real life superheroes. These are not people that were, that were fictional, that we made up. These were people that really lived a life where they were breaking down walls and doing fantastic, marvelous things under extraordinary amounts of pressure, and they were rising up an entire race. And you have people like Thurgood Marshall that were fighting for our rights, and he was brilliant. Absolutely a brilliant legal mind. And you see someone like that, you hear about someone like that. And my father was a historian growing up. He was always making me read stuff. His idea of punishing me was to go sit down and read this volume of the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. And I think he had to stop doing that because he realized it wasn't really a punishment after a while. You realize you're reading this really cool stuff, but you hear about these stories out there, these people that are real life heroes, and it takes someone very, very special to bring those people to life on screen. To do it in such a way that it really truly honors and represents the true heroes that they were in real life. And I wish he would have lived longer. I would have loved to have seen him do a movie on like Jesse Owens. That would have been incredible. That would have been incredible.
Or one of his idols, he could have came and done the Obama documentary or the Obama biopic. That was one of his idols. He was talking about, they was pretty tight from what I understand. And I told in the video that I did today about him, I told the story of him being from Anderson, South Carolina, how that was such a racist bastion and how the people were so much in poverty and how his first love wasn't acting. He wasn't even thinking about acting. His first love was basketball. And they said he was a standout basketball player. Confidant buddy of his got killed who played basketball. And in order to show his love of that friend, he did some kind of theater reenactment for that friend. And that's what catapulted him into acting, going to Morehouse. And his teacher at Morehouse was none other than Felicia Rashad. He was excelling at acting so much so he got accepted to the British School of Acting. I forgot the name of it. Golly, it's really, really popular. And he couldn't afford to go, Larry. So Felicia Rashad put in a phone call to one of her rich buddies. And guess who that buddy was? Probably. Denzel Washington. Gave an anonymous donation, got this brother going, and then the rest is academic, ladies and gentlemen. What more can you say? Yeah. Other than
and I think he actually went to Howard, not to Morehouse.
Yes, and I thought I said Howard. Did I say Morehouse?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Howard. I'm sorry.
But this is one thing that people should know, and that they should understand. Young people out there, if you happen to be watching, that I know a lot of people think that you just go and if you want to be an actor or you want to be a singer or a rapper or something, you just need to go out there and put in some work, try and go out there and hustle and take a few classes at the local acting class in Hollywood or something, and then you just audition and make it. It doesn't really work that way. If you go to IMDb and you look at all of the biggest actors that are out there, and you go check their bios and see what their background is, you're going to see these people have gone to some of the finest schools out there. They've gone to the Royal Academy of acting. They've gone to, they've got a Royal Academy of Theater, I think it is. They've gone to Yale's acting school, to Harvard's acting school. They've gone to Stanford. There's all these really great theater and acting programs. Chicago has some really nice ones out there. These are people that have not just said, I want to be an actor, but they've gone to places where they can learn their craft and hone their craft. And so I say this because for young people out there that want to become actors, they want to, if you're serious and you want to become a star, don't dinker around in school and think, I don't need to do any of this. I'm just going to be a big celebrity. Well, you need to learn how to write. You need to learn how to read. You need to learn how to control yourself so that you can act. I mean, acting is all about control. And if you can go and get into a good school, it's going to mean that you get to go. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson is a graduate, I think, of Yale Theater School. I mean, who would have known? It's not like these are people that are running around talking about that they went to these Ivy Leagues, but they did.
Chad went to
Donald Glover won his first Emmy while he was at NYU. I mean, these are people that are serious about their craft. And for all you young folks out there that want to do it big, go out there and make it big. I mean, we both have gotten educated. I have a master's degree in film and video production from American University. We are people, black folks out there that are trying to make it. We don't get to just show up like Leonardo DiCaprio and just get a role when you're 15 years old and then your career takes off. We don't get to be like what's his name, the other dude that was in those indie movies, the Indiana Jones movies. We don't get to just show up and just get a role, and then our careers take off. That can happen for some people. There are some child stars that grow up that way, but for the most part, for most people who grow up and they want to be actors, you need to be classically trained. You know, you need to be able to walk into a room, and when you hand them your headshot and they flip it over and your resume's on the other side, they want to be able to look and say, oh, this person graduated from NYU's, theater school, or they graduated from Yale's theater school. They graduated from Northwestern or Stanford or wherever other school you're going to, so that they know that you're serious. So they know that you have follow through, that you can actually start something and finish something, because a lot of that stuff is showing up and being able to work. There were a lot of times when I was in LA, when I was working in the film industry, at the time I was a photographer and I wasn't doing any acting or anything, but I was a photographer. And a lot of the times I got work was because people said, we know you'll show up. They have hired other photographers and people didn't show up. So they want to know you have follow through. And part of when you're younger, some of this part of showing that follow through is going to school and actually finishing. So anyways, that's my pitch.
And to follow
I'm glad
up,
that Chadwick Boseman was doing it big and representing for all of us.
Right. The school he went to was the Oxford School in London, ladies and gentlemen. That slipped my mind. And another era, it was Howard he went to, and one of his very last social media pics. Now, Larry, it's a lot of damn talent that came out of Howard. I didn't know Howard had this much talent coming out of it, but Kamala Harris, he took a picture with her, who's Howard. Felicia Rashad, Howard. Her sister, Debbie Allen, Howard. Taraji P. Henson, Howard. And there was another one that went to Howard. I was like, good gracious sake. Maybe I need to move to DC. Who's that?
Puff Daddy.
Wow. So, rest in peace, Chadwick, man. We love you. Marvel should just go ahead and get rid of T'Challa, at least for the next decade or so. Let Shuri go ahead and be the Black Panther, because no one is going to replace that role. And as you can see, you have made Larry forget that Killmonger was trying to take over the world. He now follows your lead. Ain't that right, Larry?
Well, I did say R.I.P. Killmonger's cousin, so I mean, I'm not going to talk any smack about him today. We know that he is what he is. Killmonger is what he is, so we'll leave it there. But I agree. I think for the next Black Panther, I mean, the comic books were calling for it anyways. I think there were plans already in place in some other phase down the line for Shuri to actually take over and become the Black Panther. And so I think they should probably just move that up. I don't know what plans they had moving forward. I'm sure they knew that Chadwick was sick. So I'm sure they took all that into effect. I mean, when these people, and I don't know how many people have worked in the film industry, but when you're working on a movie, one of the first things they do is have you go get a physical and make sure that you're actually physically capable of doing this. Because, I mean, you're talking about some of these films that are, $100, $200, $300 million ventures. So they need to make sure that people can actually, physically get through the filmmaking process. So, they're not going to have somebody start a film when they're, stage 3 colon cancer or something. And, it's just like with Robert Downey Jr. I don't know if you remember, there was a time where he wasn't getting much work because he couldn't get,
he was alcoholic.
He couldn't get insured. No one would insure him because he had so many issues with drugs. And so it was really, it was at one point during his career, he talked about it at one point. I forgot who it was one of his friends who was an actor had put up his own money to insure him. He was like, I'll insure him. I'll guarantee that he gets the work done and he's there. And he did. And now he talked about how that was a big changing point in his life. So anyways, that's all. I think that, I'm pretty certain that T'Challa was not going to plan. Well, they weren't planning on having him in one of the next movies because of this. So I think they should just move Shuri up and put her up in there. So, but we'll see.
We will definitely see, ladies and gentlemen. Rest in peace, my brother.
But how are we going to do? This is the only problem with this. I don't mean to cut you off, man. I'm sorry, but we're not going to be able to see the love scene or the romance between Storm and T'Challa now.
when
You
they
know,
do a
if they go with the female Black Panther, we're gonna miss that. We're gonna miss that storyline altogether. I know a lot of people were really looking forward to that.
well, I mean, you could just do the storyline with the female Black Panther. I mean, hell, why not? It's Marvel.
Yeah, but they're not gonna do that.
You don't think they'll do it?
Nah, it's Disney. Disney's not gonna go for that.
They're getting ready to introduce their first gay character with the Eternals, so I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I just feel like there'd be too much backlash if they made Black Panther and Storm gay. They would just too many people would be in an uproar. I don't see it happening. But I mean, I can see them doing a gay character. We know that's coming. I just don't think they would do two characters that big.
Shouts out to our brother Jess, My Opinion Reviews, Big Brandon, big friend to the channel, Futuristic Mike, Chris P, the usual Moochie, Tim, Buzz, always dropping gems, Trisha, the new people. Shout out to all y'all. Laquana Johnson, we love you. Thank you for tuning in. My folk Brandon is saying recast T'Challa. Well, here's my issue with that. I don't see how Marvel won't do that some point down the road because there's just too much story dealing with the Black Panther having T'Challa. You're going to have to do it. It's just a matter of, Larry, because we're still just trying to get over the death of the actor that played T'Challa. At what point in time is it okay for Marvel to actually try to recast? 10 years from now, 8 years from now? When?
Well, at the current rate, it'll be in the next phase. It'll be so long, but
damn, man, you say that like we're gonna be 65 by the time they decide to do it.
We might be the way these people won't wear masks around here, but you know, I don't know, man. I'm kind of feeling Brandon on that sense. Like maybe it's better to recast sooner than later. The only problem is that if I was an actor, on one level, I would want to play that role. I almost feel like you would have to give that to an unknown actor because I can't imagine any established Black actor at this point would want to play T'Challa following Chadwick Boseman. I can't imagine any established Black actor that would want to play that. Everybody would probably be like, hell to the no, I'm not playing that role. You got to be out of your cotton picking mind, you know?
So it's like, Larry, so it's like, who do you get? Who do you get that's young? Like, I'm thinking, if Denzel was younger, he could do it, but he's too old. Like, who follows Chadwick Boseman? Like, some people are saying bring Killmonger back and let him turn good. That's, to me, that won't hit home to the dynamic T'Challa was.
I'll tell you what would make that great, especially with today's current climate.
Mm-hmm.
It would be great if Killmonger was if Killmonger came back because T'Challa died as a result of like he didn't want to open stuff up. They wanted to keep it closed, and then finally they agreed to open it up. It would be really interesting if T'Challa was killed by some colonizers or something, somehow, and they went and brought Killmonger back to avenge him, and Killmonger said, "This is not a time for revenge. This is a time to rebuild," and became sort of a good guy. They can still end it. They can still end it with him sort of going off of the rails, but I think it would be interesting if they brought him, because he's a complicated character. So it'd be interesting if they brought him in with people looking for revenge, and then he's not all about the revenge. He's like, let's rebuild Wakanda first. And then after everybody thinks everything's going to be all glorious and peaceful, then he starts going off the rails. Then that could be an interesting storyline with him as the Black Panther, especially if there's sort of a tension between him and Shuri. Maybe even a romantic tension would be kind of cool if there was sort of a tension, angry tension because of how their relationship was before. And then sort of this, because they're working together now, maybe also a romantic tension starts to build. Could be fun. No.
Oh, how about
I don't know. Ryan Coogler, call us. We'll work some stuff out.
Yeah, look, man, damn it. Me and Larry been saying this for a long time. We are the most overlooked YouTubers on the planet. And all we need is an opportunity. And when we get that opportunity, we're going to beat the hell out of Deuces and Mero, but I digress. Larry, as they are
Somebody
going.
mentioned Denzel's son. That's a really good choice. I actually thought about him the other day when I thought about what would they do if they needed to bring in a T'Challa replacement, and I was like, I think he would probably be really good in that role.
Or Lakeith Stanfield.
Lakeith could be good. Lakeith would have to gain about 40 pounds of muscle.
If I had to pick between the two, I would rather have Denzel's son first.
Yeah. I think part of it is he looks more like Chadwick than Lakeith does. So I mean, there's that for some people that need to have that physical resemblance.
Or he looks more like he would be an African. He's a little darker. He's got the features a little more what you would expect. And, we've seen him change his dialect flawlessly. He's done that. So he's got that. So if maybe in the future that could happen, but I just don't see Marvel going forever without having another T'Challa.
No, they're definitely going to have another one. It's just a matter of how long are they gonna wait? Because they're gonna feel like they need to honor him by leaving that role vacant for a little while. Mm-hmm. But to be honest with you, the way that they are making these movies, the way they're casting them and planning them, I would not be at all surprised if they have a T'Challa already in mind in like the next year or so.
And
because they have to start.
They said Marvel knew that he had cancer. They knew that.
Right.
And he's been doing these movies, Larry, for 4 years battling cancer. I mean, I don't know if people know how debilitating cancer treatment is. I've seen my grandma go through it. It is debilitating. I don't even know how my man kept his hair, but he did. For the most part, he looked healthy this whole entire time until the very end. And so I'm with you, Larry. Marvel probably had something in the works already, just in the event that something was happening to him. And for all we know, some of the reasons why they kept pushing back getting started on the movie was because of his sickness, for all we know.
Right. Yeah. Someone mentioned Jonathan Majors. I don't know. I would have to see him. I would really have to have him audition and see what he looks like. Because Jonathan Majors, I like him as an actor a lot. I mean, he is one of my favorite actors right now. I think the dude's brilliant, but he doesn't give off a superhero vibe to me, and that just may be because I haven't seen him in a role remotely close to that, but he just doesn't give off. I mean, obviously the dude's physically built. He can look like a superhero physically because the dude's yoked, but he doesn't give off a superhero vibe to me. I wouldn't mind seeing the dude that played the villain in Luke Cage, the first season.
Luke Cage.
Yeah, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Let me see if I can find him. If anybody remembers the dude's name, it was the first season of Luke Cage, and he played. Oh God, what is that dude's name?
Well, while you're thinking about him, the fans in the comment section are saying you could get the guy that just played the Watchmen with Regina King. You could get him, the black guy that played that role. He was also in Aquaman. He played Manta in Aquaman. He could do the role. And for the people down there saying Mahershala Ali, he's already in the universe as Blade, so they're not going to have him go Blade. Then you're going to see him pop up as T'Challa. It's too late for that.
And to be honest with you, I actually like him for Blade better. I feel like he looks like he should be Blade.
Right.
Yeah, I like him as Blade. I think that's going to be a good role for him. The dude that played he played Bushmaster. His name is Mustafa Shakir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he might be good, I don't know. I mean, there's a number of people out there. There's a lot of talent out there. What's his name that oh God, not Idris, the other guy. He has oh God, what is his name? Now I can't think of his name. Not Idris Elba. There's another dude. Someone said Idris Elba, not him. Somebody else I'm thinking of. But I'll think of the guy's name eventually.
Hey, look, I'm with Chris P. How about Lamont Tyson? Hell.
I mean,
hell. I mean, the only thing I got to
I'm
work
just
on is
saying,
that accent.
if they bring in Lamont Tyson as T'Challa,
Oh God, here we go.
all I'm saying is
Here we
they
go.
have to hire me, a personal trainer, give me a good 6 to 8 months solid with a personal trainer and dietitian, and I'm playing Killmonger.
God.
I'm sorry, Michael B. Jordan. I know it's your role, but I'm gonna have to take it. If he gets to play T'Challa, I get to play Killmonger, and then we're just gonna have straight hijinks on the sets behind the scenes.
It would be unreal. It would be unreal.
We'll do all. I'm gonna hire hackers to hack his Tesla and make it drive itself around the studio.
Come on. No, you're not gonna be able to do that.
His daughter will be speaking by then, so I'm gonna have her. I'm gonna keep whispering in her ear to her first words are Killmonger.
No. She's gonna be my personal security, and believe me, I've already had her behind the wheel of that Tesla playing around with it. So she ain't gonna have nobody mess with her car. I'm giving her that car when she's able to drive. So you in a lot of trouble.
And then I'm gonna tell his wife, I'm gonna be like, remember that time when you were extra tired and Lamont was supposed to take his shift, but he just couldn't get up out of bed to do it? Well, I have a prank that I want you to do for me. So I'm gonna get his wife on my prank side too.
See, here you go, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we do the best we can to turn sad situations into a smile. All this is in tribute to the man on my shirt, the man whose hat I'm wearing. Ladies and gentlemen, may he rest in peace. And now we'll talk a little bit about the shows that came on yesterday. So, Larry, let's start with PValley episode 7. It was fire. I love the episode. One of the best episodes this year. Yeah. Give me your synopsis of what you think.
Yeah, man, that was a really solid episode. It was good. You know, it was really interesting how there was that one scene with Little Murders. When his boys saw him come out of the woods with Uncle Clifford.
Oh yeah. And now you forecasted that. Speaking of which, you said on the show like each week, if real dudes knew he was like that, it'd be over for him. You said that over and over and over again.
Yeah. And so his boy saw him and his boy told him, he was like, look, because at first he tried to make it out like it was nothing. He said, and apparently his boy knew that he had hooked up with him before because he said, look, you said it was only that one time. And, you know, and he's saying, look, you can't control. He said the heart wants what the heart wants, but what you can't control is how many people know about it.
Exactly.
And I mean, on one end, I'll be honest with you, on one end, I felt like, damn, that's some cold-blooded stuff because his boy was like, we're about this money and nothing's going to stop us from getting this paper. But then at the same time, he was really sort of like he was really sort of sympathetic and just like, look, man, I get it. You want what you want. I'm not here to hate on you, but this could mess our whole situation up. So you can't just be out in the open with it. And it's not anything that Uncle Clifford hasn't been telling him. Uncle Clifford's just been saying it for different reasons. Uncle Clifford's been saying it because he don't want to go get killed. Right. You know? So. But I thought that part was really interesting that was how his boy came at him. Because, you know, I'll be honest with you, man. If that was one of my boys, I can't imagine I would have done anything different, you know?
Yeah, I felt like that friend was a real friend. The friend sympathized with him liking who he liked. But at the same time, the friend told him what he needed to hear about how he's got to protect his money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
And those are the kind of friends you need to surround yourself with, ladies and gentlemen, just in your personal life. You can't have yes men surrounding you for everything you do, or they'll have you up here looking like Tiger Woods. So I thought they handled that particular situation very well because they could have took it and had the friend blow up, get into a fight with him and all that. They could have done that, but they didn't. So they handled that well.
I thought it was really cool that. And I mean, because I understand that Lil Murder probably realizes this dude is my real. He's a real G. He's my dude. Like, he may not agree with what I'm doing, he may not like what I'm doing, but because we're friends, and part of it's the money too, but part of it is because we're friends. You know, he's telling me like it is, and I'll tell you one scene I did not need to see in that.
Oh,
I
boy.
did not need to see Lil Murder butthole naked, or excuse me, almost naked, wearing his white Nikes and his white socks up there on that stage, dropping it down low, rapping. No one need to see his butt squatted up there. No, come on, man.
Hey, man,
We
and
didn't need all
y'all
that.
and y'all women wrong talking about his penis small because when he dropped it like it was hot, y'all ain't see no wiggle down
You didn't
there.
see that. I wasn't looking for it, but I mean, now that you mention it, I'm right there with nothing to see there.
Boy, y'all women ought to stop y'all mess, man. Y'all, boy. But Larry, he was being coached up by your girl, the Crooked Letter. She was trying to get him hype because, again, Little Murder showed just how young his ass is because he's afraid of being on a stage and he's trying to be a rapper.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are artists that suffer from stage fright. So I can understand that. People do it.
I'm not saying it ain't, but when it's time to do it, you got to do it. And he would not have done it had it not been for Mississippi taking him and putting her through what she went through last episode.
Right. She's definitely Mississippi has definitely come into her own. And I'm really looking forward to see how her relationship ends up turning out with that crazy ass white boy. Because we can tell he's ultra violent. I mean, the way that Gidget just like froze up in fear over him, you know, that dude seems like he must be just straight sadistic or something. But we can see how Keyshawn is just getting her confidence up to a point that I don't think she's going to be able to continue to tolerate that, you know, that abuse. She's just not going to be able to do it. And I just knew when they had those two, when they had her and Diamond up there lingering just about the touched lips, and I just knew something was going to interrupt that. I was like, they're not going to give it to us just yet. They're going to make us. They're gonna make Diamond kill her boyfriend or something before they get there. Either they're gonna make it get there before, or it's gonna happen right before he ends up having to kill dude. Because there's gonna be something that either he's gonna have to go away or he's gonna get locked up. Something, I don't know, but
right. I felt like that was gonna be a scene interrupted possibly by the baby daddy, but they didn't do it then. But you knew they wasn't about to allow them to have that moment in the back.
Uninterrupted.
Yeah, in the back of the club, in the back of Pink. They weren't about to let them have that moment then. And then to circle back to Corbin and his brothers, we often tease about how dumb the southern white male that is with the slave mentality can be. And Larry, did you see how dumb these fools were? These fools was mad at Andre for not only getting them a lease contract that's going to pay $15,000 a month, but also 1% of the revenue of the casino, not the profit, ladies and gentlemen. There's a difference. The full revenue. And now me and my wife went to Louisiana last year for my birthday, and they was telling me that in a month, the one casino in New Orleans brings in $30 million a month. You do that times 12, and that's what these boys could be bringing in a year. And they sitting up there tripping about $6 million up front. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's just crazy. I mean, you figure $30 million a month. So you figure that's what? Let's see, 1% of that. So you have 10% of that would be $3 million. And so another 10% would be 300. So you're talking about $300,000 a month.
Right. On top of 15. On top of $15,000 a month.
Yeah. So I mean, you're talking about an extraordinary amount of money that these dudes will be making as a consequence of them signing a lease rather than selling. And so, I mean, and the crazy thing about it is, I mean, I don't know how long that lease is for. Usually those leases are pretty long, like 99 years or something, but you still have a legacy you can pass on. And because because the casino will have been there and their family members will understand how the business works, when the lease is time to come to re-up the lease, they can just simply say, yeah, we'll re-up it, but we want, instead of 1%, we want 5%, you know?
Right, we want 3%. We after that 20 years is up, we got a family that's got to go through college, whatever, and we want to re-up that lease. So, and then you got to talk about It was funny as hell to see Uncle Clifford in his Black Power gear out there with Mercedes' mom.
Oh, God. He was a mess.
Oh man,
That dude was a mess.
I was dying laughing, man. You gotta love that character, though, man. That character is the glue that brings this thing together. He was
a
out
mess.
there.
He was like a combination of Stokey Carmichael and Angela Davis, boy.
Black Power. And did you see the way the crowd was looking at him as he was walking up there to Mercedes' mom?
Yeah.
Man, so you know, the big rumor is someone is going to die next week. You've got the mayor who could possibly die because you heard the white dude say they upset with him, and they told the mayor exactly what you said last week, that there's a plan of action to get his ass up out of there. They done got what they needed out of you. They're going to get him out of there. Diamond is someone I think that could possibly die, or Big L. Those are my three top lists of people that could possibly die. And then I don't think
it's going to be a major character.
You don't. So Big L is not a major character.
Nah, he's been in there enough. I think it's either going to be Keyshawn's baby daddy, or it's going to be Autumn's dude.
Okay.
I think it's going to be one of those. I think it'll be one of those two.
Now, this is what got me with Mercedes. You know, I've been caking up for Mercedes the whole season. Autumn was going to give Mercedes an extra 10 grand to help her with her business, and Mercedes' pride wouldn't let her take it. That's just crazy. That warned me back over to Autumn, because on the first episode, I was all about Autumn, then it switched to Mercedes. Okay. Now, when Mercedes went to dance on Autumn's boyfriend, husband, whoever he is, and he said he wanted Autumn, when she brought Autumn over there, did she not think that the way Autumn was looking at this guy, that something was up? That maybe she was
blinded by the stacks.
That's what you think it was?
I think she was just blinded by, because you remember when she walked over there, dude basically handed her like a stack of 20s and was just like, no, you're cool, but I'm looking at somebody else tonight, and basically was just like, here, take your stack so I don't have to worry about you lingering around. And I think she was just blinded by the stacks. So,
Mercedes, you got to do better than that. You was teaching other girls the ropes, and you saw that before the look. I mean, Autumn looked like somebody had just slapped her in the face with a poop stick. I mean,
she looked like she had seen a ghost.
Yeah, man. And Mercedes, you got to do better than that. The only other point, go ahead, Larry.
I was going to say, you know, as far as who might get killed, what I was thinking, someone who might do some killing, it could possibly be Lil Murder. Not getting killed, but it could possibly be Lil Murder ends up killing Mississippi's baby daddy, because you know they're all snuggled up over there in their business type situation, and they're fronting like they're together, but at the same time, if you see those two together, they're actually becoming really good friends, and they're working to sort of come up together. And I could very likely see something happening where Keyshawn's baby's daddy comes up and says something or does something in public, and not only does he want to help her because Lil Murder would be her friend, but also it could just simply be he can't not do something, and because if this happens in public and that's supposed to be his girl and they're all on social media, he can't not do something. It's all about preserving his rep at that point. So
and he might do it, because how do you think Keyshawn's baby daddy is going to handle her dancing all up on Little Murder when he does his big stage play next episode? That's probably going to send the baby daddy in rage, and they probably going to run in there.
Not just because of him seeing it, but dude brought his friends there. Who brings? I mean, I get it if your girl strips, but you gonna bring your friends to go see your girl strip? But he's bringing her up there, and now he's gonna see his girl up there with this other dude, already at a strip club, already a stripper, and now she's gonna be on stage with another man acting like they're together. Dude's not gonna be able to handle that. I wouldn't be surprised if Lil Murder and Diamond ended up killing that dude, because he's probably gonna go off, and Diamond's got to drag him outside, and Lil Murder might end up being outside with his people. I think the more I think about it, I think it might be Keyshawn's baby daddy that goes out. Either that, or maybe Keyshawn's baby daddy and one of his friends end up shooting, Diamond or Little Murder outside the club when they drag him out front. So
right. So what do you think is the deal with Autumn's baby daddy asking her for money? They showed you in the very beginning of the episode, it was a flashback to her doing a sexy dance on him, and then the baby started crying. Now, personally, I don't know too many men that would have got up from that dance if the baby's in the room crying, but hey, to each their own. He got up to go check on the baby while she was dancing on him, and she was smiling in that scene. Then we go back to the club when they're in the champagne room / boom boom room. He's looking at her like, weigh my money. So what do you think he's talking about?
Well, it seems to me like they were probably running scams together. I mean, she had to learn that from somewhere, unless she taught him, But it seemed like they were probably running a scam together, and she, because remember she said, "You shot me." I mean, she said, "I shot you," and he said, "Well, not good enough," and so it seems like something happened with them. I mean, it looked like we had seen some other flashback scenes where it looked like, that he was being violent with her and abusing her. So it looked like she probably got fed up with him at one point and shot him and then dipped out. Who knows? Maybe she shot, maybe when the hurricane came and all that was going off, maybe she shot him during the hurricane and figured that if he got shot dead, no one would find anything. It would just be, he'd be shot dead, his body would be rotted away, and no one would know if he got shot from her or just some other person out there looting or whatever. So I don't know. It's going to be curious to see what happens with that. I think it's a possibility he might be the one that ends up getting killed as well, because I think Autumn might take dude out,
She
and
might.
if I'm not mistaken, I think that gun is still in her locker. So when she goes back into the back room and she already knows dude's in the club, if she pulls that gun out, I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up killing that dude. Because if he's like, she's like, "I shot you," and he was like, "Well, not good enough." It's almost like it's foreshadowing. It's almost like saying, "Okay, I need to shoot you again and do it right this time."
Mm-hmm. Okay. And final point, spill the damn tea. TV says the money that she was siphoning was coming from his accounts. The money that she kept going to doing those transfers and all that, she's saying was coming from his accounts.
Okay.
So I guess
I don't know. I mean, something's got to be up with all that money,
Yeah, we'll see. 2 episodes left. They're going to do some tying up, ladies and gentlemen. They have got the authorization for a second season. Real good show. I can't wait.
She must have been a stripper before.
You think
she must have been a stripper before, because she was dancing for him like she was a stripper. Most women don't know how to dance like that. Most women, when you see them try and dance like a stripper, most of them are fairly awkward and don't really know how to dance like an actual stripper. And also,
wait, I gotta stop you right there. When is the last time you live in Washington, D.C., close to numerous clubs? Every damn girl can drop it like it's hot the way she was doing in them clubs where you live at. Come on,
but that's
man.
because they're actual strippers. They know
they ain't all them. No, man, all them girls. They ain't all strippers, man. Stop it. Any woman that want to get a man penis to rise, you ain't even got to have no coordinate. Just shake your hind parts left and right in a little slow motion. The penis is going to rise. So it wasn't nothing special about that dance she was doing, man. Women. Man,
this is my other thought. And I mentioned this earlier. Like, when most people get in a hard way, they don't most people go to what they know. They don't go to something different. So most people go to what they know. And for her, she went to stripping. It's just like some people, if you get in a hard way and you used to be an accountant, then you go find a job as a bookkeeper or an accountant or something. If you were a car salesman, you go find a car lot and you start selling cars. If you're a drug dealer, you sell drugs. If you're a paramedic, you go work on an ambulance. So I think for her, when she got in a hard way, she went to go shake that ass and work as a stripper.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. But we'll see. We'll be back. We'll be back for next week. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
next week is the last episode, right? Because they're only giving us 8, right?
I thought they did 9.
Is it 9? Okay.
It might be 8. For some reason, I thought it was 9, but we'll see. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Power starts next week, so we'll be very busy. And The Boys start next week.
The Boys start this week. The Boys come out on Friday, or
it's Friday.
Typically, it's Thursday at like 3 a.m. or something like that. If you're on the East Coast, but it comes out on midnight, I believe, on Thursday.
Okay. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a busy little weekend for those that love good TV. And now we'll end on the complicated show. That is Lovecraft Country, episode 3. Larry, summarize that episode for us, then break it down.
Well, so this episode is kind of cool. This one, you get more of a true horror film sort of vibe to it. Mm-hmm. You know, the other one was sort of backstory. It was more drama than horror. You had the monsters out of the woods, which is, was for some people might have been scary. It wasn't really scary. It was just more drama than horror. This one is more scary horror, what you would expect from a Jordan Peele. It is, this one was a little freaky. I mean, when I say a little freaky, I mean hella freaky. And it was cool at the same time. And part of it is the story was so good that the scary, freaky part did not make me, who does not like horror stuff, want to run away from it. I was so just intrigued by watching it all. So it starts off after they're both back in Chicago. Everybody's back in Chicago, and Letty ends up getting some money. She's sort of deceptive about how she got it. She tells one person she hit the numbers. She tells somebody else that her sister, that her mom left her money. And really what happened is that white lady that looks like she's a Nazi, from Germany or something, that chick actually gave her the money. And she does. If I was casting a movie about Nazis and I needed a woman, I would cast her. She looks like one. She looks like what someone would expect to be like as the Aryan race woman.
Man, so, this dude here, man.
I'm just saying, that's what she looks like to me. So anyhow, she ends up buying this big old house. I mean, this thing is huge. I think she said it had like 15 bedrooms in there. She was planning on making it like a safe space for Black folks who needed to travel, where they can come and stay. She was going to rent some of the rooms out to people who need to live there. But what happened is that in that house, there was a white dude that used to live there that was an astrophysicist or something, but he also used to do human experiments. And so Black people around the Chicago area would go disappearing during that time. And as we know, when Black folks disappeared outside the Black community, no one really cared. So this dude was basically taking these Black folks and doing crazy experiments, like taking the heads off of babies and putting them on other people, cutting people's limbs off and reattaching other stuff, just really sick, twisted, demented stuff. And apparently, he died there. And when he died, I guess the police said that they had found the bodies of 8 dismembered Black folks in there. And so it was just, the house ended up where the house was haunted because that sick, demented dude that killed those people was sort of trapped there and was haunting the place. And so Letty was in there, and it was really the whole, I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen it, but it was really a story about them reclaiming this or claiming this house. And really it was, and there was a scene where she gets all these Black folks that had been brutalized and tortured by this man. She gets together with them in their afterlife as their ghosts. She draws upon their power and tells them, you still have power, you still can fight back. And she gets them to band together and fight back and defeat this dude. And I guess I did ruin some stuff, but there's a lot of other stuff in there. But it is a fantastic episode. I don't know who wrote this episode, but whoever wrote this episode, I hope they get an Emmy for it. It was absolutely amazing.
So Larry just basically said what I was going to say. This was one of the best written TV shows. It ranks up there in all time. I mean, the writing in this show was brilliant, magnificent. because, like he said earlier, the parts that would make you scary didn't really hit you as much as the great storytelling went on in this story. And Letty is hitting it out the park. I mean,
Yeah,
she's just
she is.
hitting it out the park. Just when you think
Literally,
Atticus,
too. Literally.
yeah, just when you think Atticus is just gonna, run with the lead in the show, Letty just always seems to still be the showstopper from episode to episode. And I don't want to per se spoil it that much either, because I know some people didn't get a chance to watch it last night. So this is a soft spoiler. But watching what went on to help those people basically reclaim their power is what Black people feel like we need to be doing right now at the voting box. Hell, we ain't dead. We need to be reclaiming our power right now, marching to wherever we need to vote at, and taking back what we know belongs to us.
Right.
And you kind of can feel what Letty is going through when you think about the analogy I just put forth to you guys. So kudos to Jordan Peele for putting together it seems like every episode could be almost a standalone episode almost. I mean, this thing is really, really good, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're not watching,
there's one part of this episode that I saw that I kind of, when I saw it, I called it, and then they confirmed it later. There was a scene where her and where Letty and Atticus have sex, and he reaches down and there's blood, and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just started my monthlies," and he was like, "Yeah, no big deal." And I was like, she didn't start her monthly. She was a virgin. I was like, that was her first time. I was like, and then later they confirmed it, and I sort of suspected it because I wasn't sure that scene when they were at the mansion last week, and she, right before they were getting ready to do it, she was like, hold on. It was like she was trying to tell him, I want to tell you something. And then all hell broke loose, obviously, because he had his viper thing in there and all that. But I kind of suspected it then, but I was like, maybe she's been a victim of some abuse or something. But when I saw her bleeding in this episode, I was like, yeah, that wasn't a monthly. That was you just lost your virginity, And so it was interesting, the whole thing, and because they have her playing this role like she's this badass that's been around the world. She's supposed to be super worldly. There was, like, even at the party, there was one of these dudes that say, "Oh yeah, I used to get down with her when I was in school, and so used to get down with her." And you can see Atticus over there just steaming up like he was about to whoop that dude's ass. Like, you got about one more word to come out your mouth about her before I put you down, But so it's like you hear them talking about this, and then you realize, nah, they may have, like, hung out with her, they may have done some kissing and petting and whatnot, but they weren't fully getting it in. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes, because she just lost her virginity to him. She's already in love with him, and I'm hoping they end up hooking up for real, like for real.
Yeah, and we all know how hard it is to get over your first. In most cases, very hard to get over them. And Muchella, who definitely needs to be one of our showrunners, always makes good points, is talking about the scene with the bat, Larry, how she just went nuts with the bat.
Yeah, she did. She was number 42, man. She was channeling Jackie Robinson right there.
Yeah, she said she went ham with savage. And Muchella had her feelings in on the elevator scene and how crazy that was. What'd you think about that one, Larry?
Oh man, I knew something was gonna happen when they showed that earlier. They always do a little foreshadowing. They always do it. And so when they had Letty jump back from the elevator as it was coming down, I knew something was gonna go down with that elevator later. Someone was getting taken out. So it was cool how they did it. And it was crazy when they show at the very, very end how they hid those bodies, and they had all those other skeletons down there where a dude had been hiding bodies down there for years.
Man, can you imagine? And I mean, like, not to get historical on you, but they did do eugenics to Black people. They thought Black people didn't have pain sensors, ladies and gentlemen. And the way Jordan Peele is weaving some of this stuff into this story, even though the story has its magical elements. I mean, this is some damn good writing. And Larry, Blowfly 3000. Wonder what type of spell Dr. Epstein was trying to cast. Can you answer that question, Larry?
You mean from episode 2?
Yeah.
What? No, I can't answer that.
Well, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave it right there because it is definitely time for my shift with my daughter. Thank you all for coming out, tuning into this live show. We'll be back on Wednesday where we will cover some great stock news, some stock tips. We'll cover what's going on in politics. We'll probably do a preview to Power coming on, a preview. We'll save the preview for PValley for Friday, but we'll do a preview to Power. We'll do a preview for The Boys that's going to come on Friday. And again, for everybody that tuned in, Wakanda forever, my people.
Wakanda forever.
And that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like it, comment, subscribe. Rest in peace. Chadwick Boseman. And vote, ladies and gentlemen. And that's